Hey, I'm Marty Mongiello here at the Presidential Culinary Museum, and it's another episode of Inside the President's Cabin. Well, this episode is when screaming guests are lit on fire inside the White House. So I know that everyone's thinking like, what did he just say? It's one thing to go up on the roof with President Eisenhower and light the barbecue, because he often did, or to do the fire out back with a barbecue or something. Sure, that's completely different. But the White House on fire? Oh my gosh, completely engulfed in flame. Did you know that the White House was burned down to the ground, guys? And this, of course, is during the War of 1812. This is in August of 1814. The British come and burned the White House down to the ground. What a lot of people never heard was, well, why did they do that? Because they're horrible people. Excuse me, just one second. They never teach or tell anyone that we actually violated the Code of Conduct in Warfare and invaded Canada, and in York, Ontario, burned their government buildings to the ground the year before in 1813. And that this was in retaliation, and that's what they said. So if you want to violate accepted standards in conduct of war, we will do the same thing to you then. That's exactly what they did. They came to Washington, D.C. during the Madison administration. And of course, Dolly was the last one there. She was getting everything out of the White House as best as she possibly could, and stayed literally until one of the servants said, they are actually walking, well, they're marching right there. You can see them coming down the street. Okay. At that point, she said, let's get in the carriage and get out of here, okay? Couple of wonderful things that the First Lady saved. One of them, she often gets credited for saving the Gilbert Stuart painting of George Washington. She actually didn't do it. It was one of us, the servants, who got up in a chair and was trying to break it out of the frame when another one came running in and said, you've got to stop that and get out of my way right now. We're cutting it. And he cut it out of the frame, okay, and rolled it up and said, we don't have actually that much time. They are on the street and have already torched the Congress, the Treasury building. They're burning everything. Let's get out of here. The British come in under General Ross, and they do sit down, General Robert Ross, and eat the dinner that was left and say, well, we did find also 12 fine wines and sherries in the ransacked butler's pantry. We enjoyed those also. And then we torched the place. One of my friends, Melinda Bates, was giving a tour for General Carl Mundy, our famous Marine Corps general, one day inside the White House, and his audience was a bunch of international Marines. So imagine an American Marine general, General Mundy, giving a tour. And of course, Melinda, the White House Visitor Center director, says, well, I think it only fair to mention that it was actually some Marines who burned this house down and then marched down the street to 8th and I Marine Corps headquarters and almost burned down. Well, they burned down everything at the Marine Corps facility except for the Commandant's house. And after the tour, guess who walked up to her and said, excuse me, I'm General Ross. You're talking about my ancestor just a couple of minutes ago. So one of the assistants, the aide, actually told my ancestor, General Ross, where would you have to sleep if you burned the Commandant's house down tonight, sir? And he said, righto, okay, so we won't burn down the Commandant of the Marine Corps house, but burn down everything else here. So that's kind of what actually really happened. Of course, the other very famous fire at the White House that no one has heard of is in 1929, and gosh, it's on Christmas Eve, and about 200,000 government pamphlets went up in a bonfire in the West Wing, and President Hoover is actually hosting a Christmas party with the little kids. This was a 4-alarm fire, 19 engine companies, 130 firefighters responded. And the next year, the president gave out little toy fire engines to the kids. And can you believe it, that the White House regrettably had no insurance policy on the place? So they had to go and beg. Well, people say, well, Marty, of course they wouldn't have an insurance policy on the White House. They had to go and beg Congress for the repairs, for the money. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, I guess that's what you would do. You would normally have an insurance policy. I'm going to wrap it up today with saying, when the guest lights themselves on fire during a holiday event and is screaming at the top of their lungs, this is the worst kind of fire for a chef to have at the White House, okay? So we're not barbecuing on the roof with Ike. We actually used to have fight night between Nancy Clark, the White House florist, and Roland Messnier, the executive pastry chef. And what would they battle about? The little votive candles that were out on the tables, okay? And sure enough, Roland used to always complain about them. This is a fire hazard and someone is going to light themselves on fire. You watch and mark my word. I don't want this here on the table. And sure enough, a guest with a mink stole was leaning over the table one day during a Christmas event and lit herself completely on fire and started screaming in the White House. They got that stole off her, threw it on the ground. One of our butlers had an urn of water and threw it and put it out. What a quick thinking butler to put that fire out. So this is the worst kind of fire actually at the White House, when a guest is lit on fire. I'm going to say goodbye today, guys, but I would be remiss if I did not mention Sir Peter John Westmacott, the ambassador for the United Kingdom, apologized in 2014. Remember now, so from the burning in 1814 of the White House to 2014, on August 24th was the 200-year anniversary of the burning of the White House. And the English embassy had a huge barbecue party that Americans were invited to. The thing that freaked folks out was when they saw the tweet. And you know that tweeting gets people in trouble these days. So when they saw the English soldier carrying the White House cake with the sparklers lit all on fire and brought it out, and the tweet said, "Oh, only sparklers this time." Holy heck, did the internet light up and detonate, and the ambassador apologized. They took that tweet down. They've tried to hide it. You know you can't hide those things. Somebody screenshotted that. It's out all over the internet. If you want to see the White House on fire again, just look that up. But he did apologize and said maybe it was not in good taste. Get it? Not in good taste.
As I stand here, to think that 200 years ago, my ancestors tried to burn this place down. Now, looking around me, I can see you've got the place a little better defended today. You're clearly not taking any risks with the Brits this time.
Hey, thanks, friends, so much for joining us again. I really appreciate it. You can subscribe right down there. We would love for you to subscribe, so click on subscribe. And looking forward to seeing you again real soon for another episode of Inside the President's Cabinet.